Good morning from the East Coast of the United States. It's morning. It's evening in India, where Kushbu is reading, and we are reading the Bhagavad Gita. Today we're going to read Discourse 7, verses 13 to 30. And this is a chapter that's entitled Knowledge and Experience. We're reading the Gita. Kushbu is reading the Sanskrit from an online version available to her in India, and I'm reading from three versions. First of all, the Penguin Classic version, uh, which is translated by Laurie L. Patton, and it's Penguin Classic. The second version that I'm reading from is the Light Illuminations Bhagavad Gita, annotated and explained, which is published by Skylight Paths Publishing of Vermont, and it is a more prose version. So when I say the prose version, I'll be reading from that book. Uh, Laurie Patton's version is a verse version. And then finally, I'll be reading from a scholarly version of the Bhagavad Gita, which is translated by R.K. Sharma. And let's see if I can, there. Translated by R.K. Sharma with Carol Pitts and Les Morgan. And so, are you ready, Kushbu?
Yes. त्रिभिः गुणम ये भावैरभिः सर्वमिदं जगतः मोहितः नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययम्. Slok 30.
I want to refer back first to verse 12 because it's referring to the three states. So recognize that the states of being of sattva, rajas, and tamas arise from me. While I am not in them, they are in me. That's verse 12. So now in verse 13, this whole world is confused by these three states of being that come from these gunas. It is not aware of me, the one who is above all these, imperishable. Prose reads, the inhabitants of this world, misled by those natures which the qualities have engendered, know not that I am higher than them all, and that I do not change. And the Sharma reads, this entire world, deluded by these three states composed of the three gunas, does not recognize me as imperishable and beyond the gunas. Slok 14.
देवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते माया मेता तरन्ति ते. Slok 14.
The creative power that comes from these gunas is indeed divine and hard to master. Only those who take refuge in me can pass beyond this creative power. The prose reads, verily the divine illusion of phenomena manifesting itself in the qualities is difficult to surmount. Only they who devote themselves to me and to me alone can accomplish it. And there's a footnote. Divine illusion, Maya, the creative power that makes the illusory world of duality appear real, the deluding cosmic hypnosis, Yogananda, according to Yogananda, the deluding cosmic hypnosis. In the Gita, Maya is identified with nature, Prakriti, and the three qualities. Although it creates the false illusion of the finite world, in itself it is divine in its power and therefore difficult to overcome, according to Ramanuja. An aspect of the goddess Maya is inscrutable. Inandeva says, Maya both is and is not. She is as impossible to describe as the child of a barren woman. Only through her does the splendor of the Supreme become manifest. Even though the Lord manifests through Maya, the tangible relative universe, and appears to be its cause and support, yet he is always one and without a second, transcendental, incorporeal, and unattached. This is his eternal mystery, according to Nicolanda. This paradox of the ultimate reality was often alluded to by Sri Ramana Maharshi by quoting a well-known saying attributed to Shankara, quote, "The world is illusory. Brahman alone is real. Brahman is the world," unquote. And the Sharma reads, for this divine Maya of mine, composed of the three gunas, is difficult to overcome. Only those who take refuge in me cross this Maya. Slok 15.
Nama druskrutino mudhaha prapadhante naradhamaha Mayaya pah tagyana asuraha bhava ma shrititaha. Slok 15.
The worst of people, confused evildoers, do not take refuge in me. They are attached to the way of the demon, and their wisdom is taken away through my creative power. Prose reads, the sinner, the ignorant, the vile, deprived of spiritual perception by the glamour of illusion, and he who pursues a godless life, none of them shall find me. The Sharma reads, deluded wrongdoers, vile people whose knowledge is destroyed by Maya, drawn to demonic states of being, do not resort to me. Slok 16.
Chaturvidya bhajante ma janaha sukrutino darjuna atro jigyasurthiti jnani cha bharata sharbha. Slok 16.
But Arjuna, among doers of good, four kinds honor me: those who are afflicted, those who want to know, those who have a goal, those who have wisdom. Bowl of Bharatas. And the prose reads, O Arjuna, the righteous who worship me are grouped by stages. First they who suffer, next they who desire knowledge, then they who thirst after truth, and lastly, they who attain wisdom. The Sharma reads, O Arjuna, four types of virtuous persons are devoted to me. the one in miserable conditions, the seeker of knowledge, the seeker of gain, and the wise one, O bull among the Bharatas. Slok 17.
तेषा ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्त एक भक्ति विशिष्टते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोदत्य थ मह स च मम प्रियः. Slok 17.
Among them, the person who has wisdom eternally joined to yoga is distinguished, devoted to one thing. I surely love the one who has wisdom, and that one also loves me. And the prose reads, of all these, he who has gained wisdom, who meditates on me without ceasing, devoting himself only to me, he is the best. For by the wise man I am exceedingly beloved, and the wise man too is beloved by me. And the Sharma reads, of those, the best is the wise one who is ever dedicated to me with one-pointed devotion. Truly, I am immensely dear to the wise one, and he is dear to me. Slok 18.
उदारा सर्व एवेते ज्ञानी त्वात्मेव मे मतम अस्थितः च हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमा गतिम. Slok 18.
All of these are exalted, but the one with wisdom is thought to be my own self. The one joined to yoga abides in me as the highest way. The prose reads, O Arjuna, the righteous who worship me are grouped by stages. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Verse 18 in the prose. Noble-minded are they all, but the wise man I hold as my own self. For he, remaining always at peace with me, makes me his final goal. And the Sharma reads, all of these are surely of noble character. In my view, however, the wise one is surely my own self. With self well regulated, he is established in me alone as the highest goal. Slok 19.
Bahuna janmanamante ज्ञानवानमा प्रपधते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मा सदुर्लभः. Slok 19.
At the end of many births, the one with wisdom takes refuge in me, thinking, Vasudeva is everything. Such a larger self is hard to find. The prose reads, after many lives, at last the wise man realizes me as I am. A man so enlightened that he sees God everywhere is very difficult to find. The Sharma reads, upon completion of many births, the wise person resorts to me, thinking, Vasudeva is everything. Such a great soul is very hard to find. Slok 20.
कामे स्ते हस्तज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्ते धन्यदेवताः त नियममा स्थाय प्रकृत्या नियताः स्वया. Sloka 20.
Those whose wisdom is taken away by this desire and that desire take refuge in other gods. They resort to this observance and that observance, reined in by their own material natures. The prose reads, they in whom wisdom is obscured by one desire or the other worship the lesser powers, practicing many rites which vary according to their temperament. Sharma reads, those who are robbed of knowledge by various desires take refuge in other deities, adopting this or that rite of conduct, ruled by their own nature. Sloka 21.
Yo yo ya tanu bhaktaha yadya ya chitu minchati tasya chala shraddha tameva vida dhamya hama. Sloka 21.
But if one desires to worship any honored form with trust, I will grant to that person trust that is immovable. The prose reads, but whatever the form of worship, if the devotee have faith, then upon his faith in that worship do I set my own seal. The Sharma reads, to any devotee who wants to faithfully worship any form, I grant unwavering faith in that alone. Sloka 22.
Sa taya shraddhya yukta sasya radha nami hate labhate cha tatah kamanama yeva vihi tanhi tana. Sloka 22.
And one joined to this trust who desires to honor this God reaches one's desires as they are ordained by me. Prose reads, if he worship one form alone with real faith, then shall his desires be fulfilled through that only, for thus have I ordained. The Sharma reads, endowed with that faith, he seeks a deity's favor, and from that obtains his desires, which are actually granted by me alone. There is a footnote. Ultimately, all manifestations of divinity are manifestations of the supreme Brahman. Verse Sloka 23.
Antavatu phala tesha tabhatravatya la megha sama devan de vayajo yanti bhadraka yanti ma mapihi. Sloka 23.
But for those of small intelligence, this fruit has a limit. The ones who worship those gods go to the gods. The ones who choose me truly go to me. The prose reads, the fruit that comes to men of limited insight is, after all, finite. They who worship the lower powers attain them, but those who worship me come unto me alone. But the result of the Sharma reads, but the result obtained by those of limited understanding is temporary. The worshippers of the gods go to the gods. My devotees surely go to me. Slok 24.
अव्यक्तः व्यक्तिमापन्नः मन्यन्ते माम बुद्धयः पर भावम जानन्तो मा व्ययमनुत्तमः. Slok 24.
While those who have no insight think of me as changed into form, I am formless. They don't know my higher being, imperishable and incomparable. The prose reads, the ignorant think of me who am the unmanifested spirit as if I were really in human form. They do not understand that my supreme nature is changeless and most excellent. And there's a footnote. In India, it is customary to worship the form Murti of a deity. For example, to place food, fruits, and flowers before an image of Krishna, or to pray or meditate before it. Even just viewing a divine form, an act known as darshana, sight or vision, whether it is a statue, a painting, or the living presence of a spiritually perfect person, is an act of worship, and through the eyes one gains the blessing of the divine, according to Eck. However, although meditation on the form of a deity or a perfect one helps the aspirant to absorb divine qualities into his or her own being, it is unwise to overemphasize the physical form. The body of Krishna was merely a coat that he put on to make himself visible to the world. One must strive to see the avatar as he really is, in his all-pervading infinite being, which in reality is our own self. He who worships God merely as a finite form will not attain this transcendental divine union with his infinite nature, according to Yogananda. And there's another footnote here. Age after age, the infinite God wills through his infinite mercy to come among mankind by descending to the human level in a human form. This physical presence among mankind is not understood, and he is looked upon as an ordinary man of the world. When he asserts his divinity by proclaiming himself the avatar of the age, he is worshipped by some who accept him as God and glorified by a few who know him as God on earth. It happens invariably, though, that the rest of humanity condemns him while he is physically among them, according to Meher Baba. Okay. And the Sharma reads, though I am unmanifest, those of inadequate understanding view me as having manifestation, not knowing my supreme state, imperishable and unexcelled. And there's a footnote, compare verses 7:5 and 7:13. Slok 25.
नाह प्रकाशः सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मुधो दय नाभिजानाति लोको माम jamavya yama. Sloka 25.
But I do not shine for all, wrapped as I am in the creative power of yoga. The confused world does not perceive me as I am, unborn and imperishable. Sloka 25. I am not visible to all, for I am enveloped by the illusion of phenomena. This deluded world does not know me as the unborn and the imperishable. The Sharma reads, veiled by Yoga Maya, I cannot be seen clearly by everybody. This deluded world does not know me as unborn and imperishable. Sloka 26.
Vedaha samititani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani ya bhutani ma tu veda na kaschana. Sloka 26.
Arjuna, I know those beings who have crossed over, as well as those who exist, and the ones yet to be, but no one knows me. The prose reads, I know, O Arjuna, all beings in the past, the present, and the future, but they do not know me. The Sharma reads, O Arjuna, I know the beings of the past, present, and future, but none knows me. Sloka 27.
Ichhadesha sanutatthena nande mohene bharata sarvabhutani sammoha sarge yanti paranantapah. So 27.
Son of Bharata, because of the rise of hatred and desire and the confusion of dualities at birth, all beings end up in delusion, scorcher of the enemy. The prose reads, O brave Arjuna, man lives in a fairy world, deceived by the glamour of opposite sensations, infatuated by desire and aversion. The Sharma reads, due to the delusion of duality arising out of desire and hatred, O descendant of Bharata, all beings in creation subject themselves to delusion, O destroyer of the enemy. Sloka 28.
Yesha tvananta gapa papa janana punaya karma lama te danda moha nimuktata bhajate ma dardha vrataha. So 28.
But those whose evil deeds have ended, whose actions are pure, are freed from the confusion of dualities. Those whose vows are firm are devoted to me. Prose reads, but those who act righteously, in whom sin has been destroyed, who are free from the infatuation of the conflicting emotions, they worship me with firm resolution. And the Sharma reads, but those persons of righteous conduct whose sin has come to an end, free from the delusion of duality, They are devoted to me with firm resolve. Slok 29.
जरा मरण मोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्य तद्रिदु कृत्स्न कर्म चाखिलम्. Slok 29.
Those who move towards freedom from aging and death, resorting to me, know this Brahman completely. They know the highest self and the entirety of action. Prose reads, those who make me their refuge, who strive for liberation from decay and death, they realize the Supreme Spirit, which is their own real self, and in which all action finds its consummation. The Sharma reads, those who strive for liberation from old age and death, taking shelter in me, they know completely that Brahman, what pertains to the self and action in full. And there's a footnote, compare Discourse 2, verse 72, which mentioned the state of Brahman earlier. The terms Brahman, Adhyatma, which concerns the self, and karma will appear together again in verse 8.3, which defines them briefly in Discourse 8.1 and Discourse 11.1. Adhyatma has the sense of spiritual. Slok 30.
साधि भूताधि देव मा साधि यज्ञ च ये विदुः प्रयाण काले दपि च मा ते विदुयुर्क्ते चेतसः. Slok 30.
They know me as the highest being, the highest God, the highest sacrifice, and even at the time of departure, they know me, their thought joined to me. The prose reads, those who see me in the life of the world, in the universal sacrifice, and as pure divinity, keeping their mind steady, they live in me, even in the crucial hour of death. There are 3 footnotes. The life of the world, Adhibhuta, that which underlies all the elements. The universal sacrifice, Adiyajna, the Lord of sacrifice, and pure divinity, Adidaiva, that which underlies all gods. And the Sharma reads, those of well-regulated mind who know me as the basis of the material and divine, as well as of sacrifice, even at the time of death, it is they who know me. And there's a footnote. The terms Adibhuta pertaining to the elements, Adideva pertaining to the divine, and Adiyajna pertaining to sacrifice are used again in verses 8:1 and 2, and are defined in verse 8:4. There's a colophon. Here ends the 7th chapter, named the Yoga of Material and Spiritual Knowledge, in the Upanishad sung by Lord Sri Krishna in the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna in the scripture of yoga pertaining to knowledge about Brahman. And so that completes our reading for today. There are a few notes on the YouTube chat. So Um, I want to discuss those. Jaguar Focus says Tao Te Ching also refers to the same illusory nature. Alan Watts gave an excellent talk on it, highly recommended. Jaguar Focus says, we all are Arjuna. Yes, that's true. Jaguar Focus says, it all comes down to this. What did you try to do in life? That's all that truly matters in the end. Did you step out of the way for it? And finally, Jaguar Focus says, Mr. Skipser, a bit of analysis given by you after each paragraph would make it more engaging for live viewers as well as future viewers on YouTube. Thank you. Sharma translation is the best of the three. Um, yes, I agree, although I also like the other two for different reasons. I like the verse because the Bhagavad Gita was written in verse, and I like the prose because it's very clear and there's good footnotes with those. Um, and what I will say about analysis is that I will not be doing that because Kushbu and I consider um, this Bhagavad Gita text as sacred to many, and so we will be reading the Gita unadulterated. However, if you want to hear uh, further comments on it by me, you can ask me at my Monday night public uh, YouTube session, which is available on this channel at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time every Monday evening. And the other thing I will say is that I was attracted to do this reading because I found that the things that I saw in the Bhagavad Gita when I simply opened to a random page um, of the Penguin edition of Laurie Patton's translation, which is the first one that I received. And I opened to a random page, which happened to be Discourse 10, verse 19. And what I noted there was a description of Krishna, which very well compares to Jungian psychology. So then I began to read the verses, and um, I haven't read the whole book as yet. Kushbu and I are doing it together, but um, through Discourse 7, I would say that I find nothing in the Bhagavad Gita that contradicts anything that Dr. Jung taught in his prodigious scholarship of 20 volumes of his collected works. And it's for this reason that I'm reading it. And so one could say, because there's a hint about it in Carl Jung's Red Book, that Carl Jung was taking much of his psychology or the ideas for his psychology from the Bhagavad Gita, indeed. And it was only after we started reading this that I had the thought that a hint that Dr. Jung left for us, which he said explicitly that he left hints. One of the biggest hints was that on page 154 of the Red Book, I'm not sure I can find it quickly here, but on page 154 of the Red Book, there is an English language quote from the Bhagavad Gita immediately next to his painting of Philemon, who, for Dr. Jung, it seems that this hint suggests that for Dr. Jung, Philemon was the manifestation of Krishna in his life. And so I just leave it at that. So do you have anything else that you want to comment on, Kushbu?
No, no. Actually, I'm just behind in my book here. But yeah, I don't have something to read right now.
Okay. So do you want to read our 3 sentences? And I apologize for forgetting to do it yesterday. I'm mortal and therefore flawed.
No worries, no worries. Mm. Within infinite myths lie an eternal truth. Who sees it all? Varuna has but 1,000 eyes. Indra, 100. You and I, only 2.
Me too. So thank you very much, Kushbu. Nice to see you today. Peace.
Thank you.
We'll carry on tomorrow. What are we going to be reading tomorrow? Just out of curiosity.
My laptop is rebooting.
Oh, okay. All right. Never
So
mind. It'll be Discourse 8. It'll be from Discourse 8. And we'll begin more or less at the same time tomorrow. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Peace.